Just a minute, I'll share the screen. Okay, so yesterday we were talking regarding the complete flow, wherein we have seen in the business flow, in the business layer, we have seen that the data gets saved using get model service. Did we see till here? We have our get model service dot save. Till here we have completed it, right?
Till facade we have completed, Kiran. This was a point of discussion for today, seems like.
Okay, till facade we have completed. Cool. Okay, so just repeating the concept from the controller, we had our form object, we created our data object wherein we had some refined data. We passed this data to facade. No, in facade they have created a model. To create a model you have two ways. One is new and the other one is get model service dot save create, sorry. This we covered, right guys?
Yes.
Hello. Till here we have covered. Now we have a concept of model dot set of data dot get. Okay, and whatever we have, we do this, and finally once the model is done, see like how we have called our facade in the controller. So how did we call? We called get customer facade dot create of, sorry, dot register of data, that register data object, whatever was. This was in controller, right? Now in the in the facade also you will call something like this: get customer service dot register of model. You will send here, you will send a model. That model is created in facade layer, right? In facade you have created a model using get model service dot create. So once you created a model, you have set the values. So now your model object is ready. Pass your model object to your service layer. Okay, now in the service layer what you need to do is use get model service dot save of model object. So whatever model object you have created, that you have passed to your service layer, right? From your facade layer you have passed the model object to your service layer. In the service layer, save that model whatever you have got. So here it gets saved. Okay, that's it. Now if you carefully observe, Today it seems to be a little slow. So if you see here, they created a model object using get model service dot create. So whatever model object you want to create, you should just model's name in your create method. Okay, like how you have em dot create in your em dot create in your Hibernate JPA, right? You create entity manager factory. So emf dot get manager, and then em dot get em dot create. You'll have somewhere, right? So those methods in a similar way, you should use get model service dot create, so that you will be creating a model object. So once you get it, you just have to set the values. Once you set the values, you pass it to the customer account service. So it's very straightforward to save data. Once your model object is ready, just send it to your cutoff point for your facade layer is setting the model object. Once your model object is ready, at least for you, if the model object is ready, immediately pass it to the service layer. So in the service layer also, if you go and see, if you remember, I told you that from a controller I can call any controllers. Ultimately I should call a facade. From facade I can call another facade to another facade to another facade. Ultimately I should call a service. From service I can call another service or another service. Ultimately I should save the data. In a similar way, you can call any number of methods within the files as well. So within facade you can call one method that can call another method that can call another method, but that should be in a facade layer itself. So within facades only you should just call them. But if in a similar way, if you see this, you have your register method to which you are getting your customer model from your default customer. See, from the facade layer you are getting the model object. This model object is passed to your service layer. Here is where you are getting it, and they're calling some register customer method by passing this customer model object. Okay, open this. It's within the same file. See it now. Here itself you have it. Now here also, here they are doing some kind of validations and all. Okay, ignore all of those validations. If you want, you can do them. If you don't want, you need not do them. Once you get them, they are calling some internal save customer. Okay, by passing the same customer model object. This model object only, they are just validating. They're encoding the password and all that, and then they are getting this. They are calling this internal save customer. Now open this internal save customer. Here you can see that they have used a method called get model service dot save of customer model. Here your complete model object gets persisted. Okay, this is the place where your model object gets persisted. So whenever you want to save a model, you need to use get model service dot save of your model object. Whatever model you want, you just have to use that model service, get model service dot save of whatever model object. So let's say you want to save product model instead of customer model. Say product model. You want to save some information. See, basically why are we concentrating on the model object is because model is the true representation of my row of the item type. If I want to save a row in my item type, that means I need to have a model object. Whatever I'm getting from the front end is not a model object. I am getting some kind of rough information. I'm trying to pick up the exact values from that, trying to refine it. Once I refine and I get a specific amount of data, I pass it from one layer to another layer. In any of the required layers, I'll try to create the required set of objects From there on, I'll try to play around, send it to different layers, and finally, once I get it to the service layer, I'll save the data. So while saving the data, remember this: if you want to save the data, you do it in the service layer. What happens if I use in facade layer? No, I will write all my logic in the controller itself. You write it. Will it work? Maybe in some cases it might work. So if it is working, why are we not writing it? Can anybody tell me why are we not writing? See, it will work even if you try to write your complete code, the service layer, instead of passing it to the facade, setting it, and all that nonsense. Instead of doing all that, why don't you write everything in a one file? Why do you require so many layers? Hmm.
Because controllers are not thread safe.
Suppression of
And
concerns.
any other?
Suppression of concerns.
No. See,
Can
separation of concern. If you say I'm a technical person, I'm not somebody who's English professor. Right? You have to tell me something in technical per se.
Yeah, it's a modularity and best practices, design practice.
No. Again, modularity. I don't want this much heavy English terms.
Maintainability.
Uh,
If you
no.
if you want to change, let's say you want to change the backend service layer to, let's say, to something else in future, it's much easier.
See, one thing you are talking about all of this. Okay, thanks. The first important thing is your program might work, but the most important thing is at the time of migration you will be screwed up. The point here is in during the time of migration, if your client says move from 5.2 to 5.5, in the migration doc, if you open, they'll just say in facade layer change this line to this line. If you have this line, change this line to this line. Now that line will work only in facade layer because the API is present only in the facade layer. So in the migration doc, they'll just mention you change this value to this value. That's it. Now, if let's say you have written all your logic in your controller. Now in the controller, controller is basically present in storefront. As a part of storefront API, they might not be having that call present. So you might not be able to use that in your controller. What will happen at the time of migration? Again, you need to rewrite your complete logic because that particular piece of code is not supported. And if the flow is not there from one layer to another layer, it will be very difficult for the code to be reused. So for example, let's say several controllers are trying to call the same piece of code. So you will have to write the same logic again in all the controllers. So code reusability wise, it is very difficult. And even while migrating, you'll literally be screwed up, like I told you. Because believe me, your freshers in the team, once you assign the task for them, they just want the program to work. They don't want to follow the standard. They just want the program to work. Your customer comes in and says, boss, I want this to be done. By hook or crook, you will just make sure that will work. But if you write that piece of code without even thinking about the future circumstances, then you will be not termed as a developer at all. Okay, so make sure you are following a standard. If you are violating the standard, there will similar consequences. You're first of all, you're the hybrid consultant who comes to approve your code from hybrid side. He will first of all not give that stamp saying that this is a certified verified code. Unless until if it is certified, you will not be taking it into, or at least verified, you will not be taking it into live, right? So you need a thorough review done from hybrid side also, so that hybrid will also recommend saying that yes, this is good enough code which you can take to live. So once that thing is only done, you will get all your permissions. So your client will be not happy if in case you are not following the standards which are suggested by hybrid. So it's as simple as this, guys. You need to just follow it, because at the time of migrations, or probably if the same piece of code is being used by several controllers, I need to call the same facade layer, same facades, instead of writing the logic again over all the controllers. In a similar way with respect to all services also. Okay, so that's a simple logic. Okay, sorry for saying this. If in case a question is asked, if at all, if I am asking a question, I am sitting in the interview and I am being the interviewer, I'll expect people to talk technically. Okay. If you are projecting yourself as a technical person, so generally speaking, do not use English words, heavy English words at least. Just be to the exact technical logics. So what can happen technically as a layman? If I am a technical person, generally speaking, I will not be proficient in English. So you should explain me, convince me technically. Okay. So if you use some words, I might not be able to convince. Again, again I'll have to ask you one more question. What is that? Again, you if you use an English word again, okay, that gets into a ripple effect. That is why. Because I recently faced this. I was asking some project manager about some questions, and he was continuously using heavy words. I was just asking him just to be the point, to be at a point, and he was continuously saying me so many words. I skipped the question. So that happened for 4 or 5 questions. So it was a little difficult to handle. So I'm just telling you with my experience. That's it. Okay. So okay. Anyways, get back to the point. So we have saved our data. Brilliant. Our work and the complete flow is done. Now, because the complete flow is done, let's see how, if in case I get a requirement, I modify something, how do I do that? From the scratch, we'll see. So the first point of contact for your complete flow is your controller, right? It's your controller. So if you just open your controller, you have your login page controller. Now, let's say you first of all changed the URL from /login/register to /login/Nike register. Somebody see here. The moment you click on your submit button, let's say it's Nike register here. Instead of register, it's Nike register /login/Nike register. You would directly modify your login page.jsp because it's present in your storefront. It's present in your storefront. You have your own, permissions to modify it because this is present in your extension. You have the full control on this. Now, there is no method in your controllers, basically in your login page controller, which is having a request mapping of /Nike register. What should you do? You can go ahead and create a new method inside this. Okay, you can create a new method inside this. Make sure for that particular method the request mapping is Nike register. Here it is register, right? In a similar way, you should have Nike register for your method. Okay, pass required parameters. Once you pass it, see here. First of all, your register form might be having some extra attributes. For example, right now, your register form is having some first name, last name. Sorry. You have your title code, first name, last name. Then you have the email ID, password, check password, and submit. That's it, right? Your captcha and all. Now, in the form itself, you are asking some extra attributes like date of birth, passport number, or unique identifier, some number, and then you are asking the gender. Okay, let's say some extra attributes also you are asking. Because you have asked some extra attributes, now your register form will contain extra piece of fields. It's not just the one which is given to you by Hybris. Like for example, if you open your register form, you are now having only 7 attributes here. Probably you might be having some extra attributes as a part of your requirement. You must have added some extra fields. If you have added some extra fields, can you directly do that in your storefronts this file? Yes, you can surely go ahead and do write your extra attributes as a part of this, because this is in storefront. You have your complete control over this particular class file. You can just add some extra attributes like gender, and then you have your date of birth, and then you have your some extra points, whatever you want, and generate the getters and setters for them. You can do that. Generally, how do we do it? See here, your register form is created here, right? It is there here. What you should do is this way. Okay, right click, new class, say that you are going to create Nike register form, and then here you should say it extends register form. Okay, here at this level you should say that public string dob, it can be date, whatever it is. I'm just trying to create some random some 3-4 attributes. So here you can say public string, probably gender, it's enum, but you can just create any number of attributes that you want. Go ahead, create your getters and setters. Once you created your getters and setters, you are now having your own form, right? You're having your own form. What you need to do, use this form object, use this form object now in your controller. So what you need to do, go back to your controller. At this point, instead of passing register form, you need to pass Nike register form, because you are getting a new form, right? That is why import your new form and call your new form object here. See, the point here is this particular method might be used some 2-3 places. We should first of all find references, and if there are no references, then you can go ahead and use it. But if there are references, then it is not suggested. So that is why if you have a new what should I say, the request mapping, do not try to modify this to Nike register. Do not try to modify it. If you modify it, it might be a problem. It might be, I'm not sure, because there can be several references of /register across your application. So the recommended one is you better go ahead and modify by creating a new method for you yourself. So copy this, try to create a new method, okay, with a new request mapping for that particular one. One second. So for that particular one, you need to have your own register form instead of register form. You will have your Nike register form for the new method, and you will be passing your form object. Now in the front end also, you can add your extra attributes as a part of your .tag file. If you open this one, you have your user register, right? So just open this. You can add your extra form attributes here. So just add your extra form attributes, and so that now you will be able to send your new parameters as a part of your login page controllers call. So here you will be getting your extra parameters. So we created our own form object, and after creating our own form object, we have set the values for our form object, and then we are ready to pass it to the this controller. So here if you see, now for here also you have to change it to Nike register form, because right now the return type is changed, right? So here also you are using Nike register form. Good. I have my Nike register form where I am having my extra attributes. Well and good. Here in your register data, if you see, register data is still containing 5, but as a part of your own form fields. So I need to add my 3 more fields as a part of data object. In my data object also, I need to have 3 fields, because those 3 fields only I will be setting to my modal object. In my modal, see, I have my customer modal. My customer modal extends customer. So I create a new type in my items.xml file. Just imagine, in my items.xml file, I create Nike customer extends customer. Okay, whatever customer item type is there, I will try to extend it, and I will try to create Nike customer. In my Nike customer, I will add extra 3 attributes: date of birth, gender, and whatever extra field. Okay, those 3 fields I will add. Now those 3 fields, because I have added, when I do the build, my modal class will contain those 3 extra fields added I will have a Nike customer model. In my Nike customer model, I will have those extra three attributes. So that's how my model class will be. My model class is ready. I do an update. My class is also created. My tables and respective things are also created with respect to database. So my database is also containing table. Build is also containing the required entity object, but then I need to save the data into the data object. How do I modify the data file? So here, if you see, this is in platform. You cannot modify this. How do I do that? See here, guys, for data classes, to create a data class, Hybris has come up with a file called beans.xml file. You have beans.xml file. You have items.xml file for your item types, right? Model classes. If you want model classes, you will have items.xml file. This is for your classes. Okay. You have your data classes for your beans.xml file. You have your model classes for your items.xml file. That's as simple as that. Okay. So for model classes, you will always go for items.xml file. For data classes, you will also always go for beans.xml. Both your data classes and model classes are created in platform only. Both your data classes and model classes are generated in your uh, platform folder only, platform extension. Okay, same logic applies even for why they are created in uh, the platform. Did I tell you why they are created in platform? So in a similar way, your data classes are also created as a part of your platform only. Okay, so all the extensions can use it. Till 4.8.7, you had to create your data classes by you yourself in your own extension. You had to create it, you had to write it, you had to modify it. From 5.x, Hybris has come up with beans.xml file. So if somebody is asking you what is the difference between 4.x to 5.x, you can say one of these points. So in 4.8.7, there is no beans.xml file. From 5.x only they have introduced. Nobody will ask it, but if in case somebody has asked, if somebody starts asking you in a psycho manner, asking you what is the difference you have observed in 4.8 to this, so you can just tell them that some extra files have been added in the form of beans.xml file, some new configuration files have been added. So that way, okay, if you go here, you have your data object. If you want to create your data object, see here, this is present in Nike storefront. So Nike storefront will have its own beans.xml file. Do a control shift R, you will have star Nike star beans.xml file. See here, you have Nike storefront beans.xml file. Here you need to add your bean. So if you want to add your bean, how do you do that? See here. This as bean. So here, if you see, let's just try to see.
Kiran, your screen got frozen. We are not able to see the changes, what you're doing. Okay, now it's refreshed.
Okay, so I'll just try to copy one of the file, one of the piece of code in my Nike storefronts beans.xml file. Here I need to say, see, I need to copy the exact path of wherever my data object has been created. For example, register data, right? If you go to the top, it is present in this one. Okay, I need to go back to my storefront, this one. Here I need to mention this one. This is the register data, right? So I need to copy the exact path and exact okay, here I need to mention Second, here I need to mention the same way and say that it is Nike register data. Okay, here in the property section I can say that it is gender and date of birth and other attributes. If in case you have, you can put in all your attributes. Okay, and here I can say it as java.lang.string. So here I can say it as string. Here also I can say it as string. Okay, if in case you have any doubt, see any of the here, however they have defined it in your one of the XML beans.xml files. Just see how the beans.xml file should be defined. See, if in case you have an enum type, you should first of all define an enum class. Okay, and then use this particular class as your type. You can use it. You can use your enum types also. So you just need to verify how a beans.xml file should be defined for various kinds of attributes. There are plenty of examples. You can just do a star beans star.xml. So you'll have so many beans.xml files. Just verify in which beans.xml file how the definition is given. So you'll be able to get how to define it. Okay, it's all self-learning, so I'm not stressing on this. It's just a process where you see, if somebody is asking about beans.xml file, they are only expecting why do you write it. The only concept is to generate data classes. Okay, so where are the classes generated? They are generated in platform. That's it. Nobody will ask you how do you write your code in the beans.xml file. If they ask you, then you are with a interviewer who's trying to test your patience. Okay, you just need to have a workaround. Go, my suggestion is attempt your interview only after you are done with your at least one round of practice, so that you will know, okay, in the bean class you have a property called extends. This is how you'll extend one class to another class. So if you write this way, what will happen is when the class is generated, in the generated class you will have Nike register data, extends register data, and you have your two extra attributes given. So once you do your build here as a part of your register data will be as it is, but there will be new class called this one. You have your Nike register data, extends register data, and you will get some two extra fields, and you will get their getters and setters. You can still control your getters and setters like how you have done it for your items.xml file. Just verify the combinations, verify the properties, and see the extra attributes that you will have to each and every property. You will be able to control it. Once you have that, now come back to your controller. Where is our controller? Abstract register page controller. Here you need to put it as Nike register data. Okay, so once you have put this, you are having your Nike register data created. Now your Nike register data will contain all your code. So you can add data.set dob, data.set gender of form.get dob, form.get gender, because you created your Nike form, right? Nike register form is having that dob and gender. So what you will have in your Nike storefront, you have added some extra two attributes. So if you go to your abstract register page controller, here you can add data.set of data.set dob, form.get dob, data.set gender, form.get gender. So now your complete data object is done. Once your data object is done, okay, till here any doubts, guys? Till here any doubts? Only ask till here. Only ask till here. What are we going to learn? Don't ask. At least can somebody confirm yes? No doubts. Hello?
No doubt.
Yes.
No doubt.
Okay. So after this, guys, after this, what you need to basically do is, if you see here, you have your get customer facade. So I'm just opening the declaration. The declaration here, it is like, it is pointing to this customer facade. Now if you see the customer facades definition, like I've shown you, it is defined in commerce facades spring.xml file. which is pointing to default customer facade. Now your default customer facade, see here, let's just get back to our abstract register page controller one more time. In my abstract register page controller, the moment I'm calling this register method, see here, this register method is there in commerce facades extension. This default customer facade is present in commerce facade. So I'll just go back once. If you see here, this abstract register page controller is present in Nike storefront. So you have full control to modify the existing file. You have full control. You may do it directly here, or you may write a new file, new controller class, which extends this controller and then modify it. You can do several ways. But you still have a chance to modify it directly, because it is present in storefront and you will have full control to modify it. But if you see, the facade being called is to your commerce facades one, which is a very dangerous one. You cannot modify anything in your commerce facades, because this particular extension is coming as a part of your this commerce facades is coming to you as a part of your system setup itself. The moment you set up your environment, you're getting commerce facades. So the default API you cannot modify. You should never do that. You will not have control over this, because this is not present in your custom extensions. If you have to modify, you should modify your custom extensions. Now carefully observe this. I'm going to repeat this point one more time. Okay, I'll take it very slowly, because if you understand, everything else is done. Only this point is pending. Okay, if you carefully observe, guys, the class name is default customer facade. So what will I try to do? Observe this. It is implementing customer facade, right? So first of all, my point is, I want to change the way register method is there. Here in register data, first of all, I want to change this to Nike register data, because from my abstract register page controller, I am not going to pass data object. In the data object is first of all Nike register data. You know, if I can pass Nike register data, my work is done. If I have to do this, if you carefully observe, in your default customer facade, you need to change the definition of this. If you are trying to change the definition of this, what should you do? Go to the top. You have your for customer facade here. So customer facade, if you open, this is an interface. This is register method, which is having register data. So I need to add an extra method here. Which will accept Nike register data instead of register data. So I'm just trying to change the definition from register to Nike register. I cannot do this also, because this is also present as a part of my customer facades. I don't have a chance to do this. So how am I going to do this? Observe. I have my facade layer. I'll open my facades. Okay. In my facades, I go to my SRC. Okay. Here in one of the folders, what will I try to do is, I'll right click and say, for example here, if you see, let me just open some facades. Okay, you have your facades here, right? So for example here, I'm just right clicking and say new interface. Okay, here I'll say Nike customer facade. Okay, this interface extends customer facade. Okay, now here I'll say the same method, but here I'll say it as Nike. Okay, because I want to add an extra one here, I cannot do that here. I'll try to create my own interface in my method with my own class. Okay, Nike register data is my own class, right? I will create it. I have created it. Now if I do the build, every error will be gone. I'm not saving it, I'm not building it, that is why I'm still getting this error. No problem. So if I have this, what should I need to do? I need to write the logic. I need to implement this interface, implement this particular call and modify it. I cannot go and modify the definition of default customer facade and say it extends Nike customer facade. This I cannot do because it's stupidity. It's present in customer commerce facades. I cannot do that. Okay, I do that again. Get back to our normal state. I'll copy this default customer facade. Here I have my class, right? Here I have my interface, right? So what will I try to do here is I'll go to my IMPL area. I'll right click and say create new class. Okay, I'll say Nike default customer facade implements Nike customer facade. So I'm writing a class called Nike default. See, I'll try to write Nike default customer facade, Nike default customer facade, which extends default customer facade, implements Nike customer facade. This is my interface. This is my class. This is my new class. Here instead of register data, I am having Nike register data. So what will I try to do? I will just copy the same logic of my register in my facade. So what is there here? Customer facade, right? So here I go. Whatever is there in my register method, I'll try to copy the same thing. In my default Nike default register customer facade, whatever it is. Where is it? Nike default customer facade. Here I'll try to copy that. Here I have a complete permission because I have modified the definition of Nike register data. Wherever I'm using register data, that means it's all Nike register data only. Now I have my value set from my controller. I'm getting this. So now I need to call this method, this register method instead of that register method. So I can do that. So how will we do that? We'll see it. Okay. If you see here, now you have your complete control. First of all, how could you write your Nike default customer facade in your facade layer? How could you extend the default customer facade? So this is how it is. If you see Nike facades extension info.xml file, if you see, Nike facade is dependent on accelerator facades. If you open accelerator facades, that is dependent on commerce facades. You have your own Nike facades, which is dependent on accelerator facades. Accelerator facades is dependent on commerce facades. So A extends C. It's like this. A extends B, B extends C. So whatever is there in A can be used in C, right? In a similar way, whatever is there in your accelerator facades and commerce facades, you can use the same things even in your facade, because your facade is dependent on both A and B. So whatever is there in A and B, you're extending. C extends B. That means C is extending both B and A also, because A is a parent class, B extends A, C extends B. So that means C is having the properties of both A and B, right? So that's how you can use your default customer facade and your customer facade and all that, because you have that permission to do that. Now in your controller, instead of calling default customer facade, you should call your own facade. So you should call Nike default customer facade. So how will you do that? You will do that this way. If you see how the customer facades definition has been given, I cannot say Spring concepts to you now. I'm assuming you already know that. That is why if you go to your abstract register page controller, it is calling get customer facade, right? Now the get customer facades definition, if you see, okay, that's present in commerce facades spring.xml file. Where is it? Here, commerce facades spring.xml file. So here you have your customer facades definition. So what will I try to do? I'll copy the same thing. I'll copy the same thing, and instead of saying it as customer facade, I will try to see this is in commerce facade spring.xml file, right? So I'll open the spring.xml file of Nike facades. Here what will I try to do is go down here. I'll try to mention it as this one. Here what will I try to do is, instead of having get default customer facade, I'll say Nike default customer facade. I'll say it as Nike default. So I'm just changing it from normal one to my own here also, instead of this particular definition, I should give the full path of my Nike default customer facade. Where is it? Nike default customer facade. So I just need to copy this, go here, paste it here, I make it as Nike. So that's it. Now my Nike, so here instead of default customer facade, I should use Nike customer facade. So here even my code also, I need to go back. Where is my code level? Abstract register page controller. Here instead of saying get customer facade, I should say get Nike customer facade. Accordingly, I should change the definitions also at the top. So probably wherever you have your customer facades declaration, right, you have it in your this one. So here I should change Nike customer facade, and this one I should mention it as Nike customer facade. This one also I should change it to Nike customer facade. That's it. Now it is being pointed to Nike default customer. So here if I see in my abstract register page controller, here now I can say it as get Nike. I should make sure that I will have the getters and setters generated for this. Okay, it's not just that I write it as it is and I'm leaving it. No, in my which file was it? Here, abstract register page controller, you are changing your definition from this one to this one, right? So in your abstract class, where is this abstract page controller, after you change this, generate the getters and setters, new getters and new setters. Okay, accordingly you are changing your full definition. So now in your abstract register page controller, you are now able to call your facade. So the moment you call on this register method, it will call the Nike default register. Where is this Nike default customer facade register? So it will call this one. So you are now having your own logic being written. Make sure you are calling your facade, your service here. So what will you do? Get Nike customer account service of register. Here instead of new customer, see here, instead of customer model, you can say Nike customer model. Okay, here you can say get model service dot Nike customer model, because you created your own model class, right? You created your own model class, because you modified your existing item type to whatever item type you want. Here you have to set your extra fields. Here you can set your extra fields, model dot set of data dot get, model dot set of data dot get, all that logic you can write here. Once you call that, make sure you are calling your own customer service in a similar way like how you have written for your facades. Just make sure that you are writing Nike customer account service. See, even if you open the customer account service also, you can see that where is this customer account service? Default customer account service is there, right? If you see the definition of this also, it's same to same like how you have for facades. You have a customer account service which implements customer account service. You have a default customer account service which implements customer account service. If you see the definition in this particular interface, you will still have the same register. Where is this? If you see the register method, instead of passing customer model, you are passing Nike customer model. So make sure you are just extending, write the same thing in your core extension. In your core extension, instead of facades, your services needs to be written in your core, right? So just extend the existing one, extend your default customer account service, write Nike default customer account service, which should implement Nike customer account service. Then you can override the method, register method. Once you have overridden it, then you can basically try to say in register customer or whatever it is, instead of writing all this logic, you can just say get customer get model service dot save of your model dot class, your model object, sorry, your model object you can pass. So you basically want to change the definition of register data to accept your model object. So you are changing it, you are modifying it, you are passing your model object, saying get model service save of model. That's it. In case you want to call the super methods, you can use super method. If you super call, if you use, it will call the super method also. So it's all up to you. I'm assuming you guys got the point that I was trying to tell you. Any doubts here, guys? Any doubts? It somebody can confirm it is clear.
Kiran, do we have any document which describes
Do we have any?
like any exercise document that describes on what to do? Like the thing that you have done, if we can do it ourselves, that will clear up many questions. Many that will clear up.
Frankly speaking, there is no direct document which says this is point. If you open Wikibris, there is lots of nonsense. There is no direct point saying that do this, do modify this, modify this, modify this. Straightforward thing. So like I told you, this is how it should be done. So I'm not really very sure whether there is any document. I'll try to find out. If there is a doc, I'll send you. Mostly there is no. If with Java, these all points, whatever I have told you, is just a children's play. Are you a functional guy or a technical guy?
I know a little Java. I'm SAP ABAP developer. I was supposed to learn Java, but I do the e-commerce ISA sales, the Java application. So I know the
So
basic
do you
Java
write a
part.
code as a part of your role?
Yes, I do the basic Java too.
I'm not really very sure whether you would be writing this level of code or not, because this is written by developers. That is why.
This is fine. I got it. I have it. Like if whatever you have done, if you do it ourselves, that means it. That's all.
Yeah. But whatever I've told, like I mean, if people who are familiar with Java programming, this is like generally they will say, I understood this. Others, can you guys help me? You understood or not? You should speak. I understand it. You should try it.
Yeah, we understand.
Okay, Shiva. Try catch. You can create your own exceptions. See, just see the documentation or see the API. See customer facade or customer facade. You see that here there are some which are already there. You can use the same exceptions. You just need to see how they have been defined. If there is an exception which you don't have, you can create your own exception class. You will have documentation. You just have to go for the documentation. Even in Java, how can we know exceptions, all possible exceptions? You should see the documentation only, or do a control space, you will get it. Others, please confirm if you have any doubts, because I'm done for the topic today. I should start the reverse flow, which I will start tomorrow. Tomorrow, as in tomorrow is not Friday, right? Okay. On Monday I will start it. That day only I will tell you about REST calls.
I have no doubt, Kiran.
Okay. So we are done for the class. So people who don't have doubts can leave for today. Others, if you have doubts, stay back. If you don't have doubts, no
Kiran,
problem.
not from this today class. Generally, I'm asking because you're experienced guy. I need to implement AOP in my exception handling. So does this cause a performance?
No, it doesn't, because Hybris is developed on the top of Spring only. So whatever Spring calls you have, you can do that.
Okay, so I can implement AOP, Spring AOP.
It doesn't cause any problem. But you should not. You should follow everything. Is if you have a requirement to use AOP, use it. Discuss with your technical architect. Anyways, your technical architect might come up with a better suggestion.
Okay.
How many classes more do we need here?
That I cannot tell. Actually, by this time, all other batches will be completed. But for your batch, it is still going on.
In general, do we need like a week or 10 classes?
Roughly around a week at least we require. I'm not still sure because I need to still explain you about Impex. See, reverse flow will just take us some half an hour to 1 hour. So most probably we should start our Impex class by next this Monday itself. Worst case, by Tuesday we'll start our Impex. So once we start our Impex, then the next thing is Impex will take us close to 2 hours. Once the Impex is done, because it is very simple topic, but it is a laborious task. You will have lots and lots of points to cover. Then we will have our cron jobs, which will take us just half an hour. Then workflows is again half an hour. After that, we have our Solar, which I'll just explain you high level. We are not going to dig in deep into it. So it's around half an hour, or that's it, half an hour. And then I'll explain you about page templates. That will take us around close to 1 hour. So that's it. Those are the topics. Miscellaneous topics like media, etc., again are there, which will take us some half an hour. So most probably by next week it should be done. But I am not concerned to complete it in 4 hours or 5 hours. I am more concerned about completing the topics with full clarity. So even if it extends by 1-2 hours, I am not bothered about it. All the topics.
Kiran,
Hmm.
do you have any interview questions?
Yeah, you can ask the organizer. They will send you. I have given already 100 questions or something with answers. My sincere request, please, for God's sake, do not put them in internet. Even though you might be very passionate about helping others, you are creating competitors for yourself. Please do not put. There is very little help on internet, and you should not be the savior here.
I did not find anything actually with regards to.
You go, you talk to the organizer. They will send you this one. Where is this? After so much of hard work, I was able to prepare so many questions. Please do not just make it. Although you have your closest friends, generally do not share it.
Yeah.
So it's direct a question and answer. Okay.
Oh.
There are some 100 questions, I think. Roughly 99, huh?
Kiran, one question. Probably you might cover this in Impex. Because of the weekend, I just wanted to do some work. That's why I'm just asking this question. Is there a direct way, any way to export the catalog into an Excel file or something?
No, there is no such direct file. You have, see here, to import data.
No, I need export. I want to see the catalog I want to use it in another project, so just wanted to get the data.
Okay, you are supposed to get the data. See here, I was trying to explain Impex only to one of the batches night. Okay, if you see here, I'm just opening products.impex. So if
Okay.
you see here, I'm assuming you know about header.
Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just copying the header and macro. Now what will I try to do is I'll open the HAC. Login. Go to your console Impex export. Paste it along with your macros and say export content.
Okay.
Once you do this, you will get your complete data of whatever item type header you have copied. So if you click on this, you can download it. Once you download this, it will look like this.
Okay.
It will look like this. Once you extract it, you will get an Impex script and you will get your CSV file. Open your CSV file, you will get your complete data.
Oh, okay.
So if you see, this is all your data. The same data, if you see, is present even here. This was used for import, right? So the same data you are getting as a password as a part of your Excel.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I think I have some work to do now over the weekend.
Yeah.
Hey, Kiran, Abhilash here. I was just trying to, get a source code for few of the files which are already uh, there when I did that Eclipse setup.
Hmm.
So I couldn't found that files source code. Like it was asking me to attach the source code for few of the files. How to
What do you
get that?
need to, how do you do that in normal Java? Tell me.
We have jar files and then we attach the jar files. So it should
No,
come.
no. If you have jar files, can you read all the dot class files? Can you open dot class files? I just opened a dot class file for you. If you would have observed or not. Customer account service
Yeah,
dot
that's
class.
what like I saw that.
The point here is
Yeah.
go to your help. Sorry. Uh, Here you have to go to your help. Go to your Eclipse marketplace. Okay. Right now it will connect and again it will make a mess. So you'll have to install this plugin. Okay. Java decompiler, JAD plugin. If you use JAD, you will be able to see the dot class
Okay.
files.
Okay, all right, I'll try
I
that.
think I
Okay,
have it.
thanks.
I'm not sure whether I can send it or not because I don't remember whether I have it or not. See this one. It's just around 234 KB. Just use this JAD 158g.win.zip. Once you use this, you have to copy this JAD.exe in your